You can just tell when I don't have a proper opening for a video. We just pull out the trump cards. Isn't that right, baby? Yes. Mwah. How much do you hate Daddy right now? That much. That much. Hi. Okay, you go over to the bag of treats. Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. Now, if you have followed me for any length of time, I say this a lot, but this is for the people that have, then you'll be aware I am a big fan of the Resident Evil series. I loves it, absolutely loves it. In actual fact, Resident Evil 4 is one of my all-time favourite games. Resident Evil 4 is the image that you can see up there. There's Leon S. Kennedy, policeman for one day in the Raccoon City Police Department, and what a day that was. And then there's Ashley next to him, the president's daughter, who he was sent to rescue in Resident Evil 4. That's when we were introduced to Las Plagas. Las Plagas. Anyway, I've recently on stream been playing the remake version of Resident Evil 2, and it's stunning. It's just great. It's great to reconnect with these characters, and not only that, it's a recreation, a remake, of a game which in itself was fantastic, but the remake is fantastic. It doesn't feel like a cash-in whatsoever. It doesn't feel like, oh, hey, let's just try and use the success of a game 20 years old, 21 years old, and attempt to see if we can just milk this franchise. No, you can tell all the care and attention and detail that has been put into the remake of Resident Evil 2, that they wanted to make this 2019 version a bona fide update, a bona fide shift in dynamic from 1998 to 2019, and show how technology has changed and allowed everything to move seamlessly. If you were a Resident Evil player back in the day, then you'll be aware, of course, every time you went through a door, you get a loading screen. You get the loading screen door and it'd take you through to the next area. You'll also be aware, of course, that there were fixed cameras, and therefore you couldn't really see what was coming. You could hear noises, but you might be taken by surprise. Ladies. We'll get on to surprises later when we talk about Ashley. And so with this Resident Evil 2 remake, and if you haven't purchased it, I am telling you right now, this is a potential Game of the Year candidate. No doubt. No doubt whatsoever. Pick it up. And I recently said in a video as well that Capcom were celebrating. We're very proud of the fact that they'd shipped 3.5 million copies. Well, guess what, folks? It's now gone over 4. It's now gone over 4 million copies. Capcom are absolutely thrilled. But with the Resident Evil 2 remake for current day, no loading screens when you go through those doors. No. Everything's seamless. You open a door, you're going through to the next area. You have the camera in third person over the shoulder. And I really like that. And that's what Resident Evil 4 brought to the table. They brought this new dynamic camera system to the game, even if you still had loading screens when you went through doors. But the areas were much bigger, at least. So, yes, you have this free move camera. You can see what's round the corner. You can kind of like negotiate your way around the freedom of the character, while still at the same time having a lot of the older controls in terms of the way that you slash with your knife, the way that you can do a 180 turn and quickly run in the opposite direction, which, let's just be honest here, was used on a lot of occasions when I was playing the game. And it just really opened up the game to a modern dynamic of an absolute classic. And I'm really glad to see Capcom doing this, because when the Resident Evil series was at its peak, And I'm just going to say it now, and I tell you what, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to pat me on the back for this. I'm not boasting, but there's a lot of people that are going to pat me on the back for this. Capcom, Dino Crisis Remake, please. Dino Crisis Remake, begging you. Begging you. But when we got back to those days where we had Capcom with the early doors Devil May Cry, we had the Resident Evils, we had the Dino Crisis, which was just that was just Resident Evil with dinosaurs. That's what it essentially was, but so much fun to play. And they lost their way. I don't know what happened, but they lost their way. They made a few bad choices with games. They just started making remake after remake after... And I'm talking HD. I'm not talking this wonderful Resident Evil 2 remake that we currently have. And all that stuff, right? So, my love for the Resident Evil series is absolute. Let's just say that. Leon S. Kennedy, probably my favourite Resident Evil character. I think closely followed by Ada Wong. I think those two characters are so polar opposite. And yet the dynamic between them, the attraction between them. But Ada's, what I would say is increased intelligence and manipulation always has the advantage over Leon. And it's wonderful because I quite like Leon as a slightly naive, even if in Resident Evil 4 he's a little bit more gung-ho. But I do like my Leon as a slightly naive character that can be manipulated and played. So, just wonderful cast of characters. Claire's great. Code Veronica remake. Okay, we're going to do this all day, every day, aren't we? Code Veronica, such a game which just flies under Sony people's radars, and it was epic. Now, it came out initially... Sorry, I'm absolutely fanboying Resident Evil here. It came out initially as a Dreamcast exclusive. That is what Resident Evil Code Veronica came as. And Dreamcast in itself was so far ahead of its time. So far ahead of its time. Yeah, I've got a switch down here. We're going to bring this into the equation in a moment. Claire really came into her own, I think, in Code Veronica. As opposed to Resident Evil 2. Sure, we got her in Resident Evil 2, but I think she really came into her own, showed that she herself could carry a game, a Resident Evil game by herself. I think characters which have slightly floundered are Chris Redfield. Chris Redfield's a bit... Don't take this the wrong way, America. He's just a bit of a jock, you know? And I didn't... in Resident Evil 5, I didn't really find too much to connect with Chris Redfield, and then Resident Evil 5 just got stupid at the end, and that was really the kind of like the turning point in the actual franchise itself, because I think Resident Evil is at its best when the horror is intimate, not when you've got Albert Wesker and you punching rocks and all this flippy stuff and, you know, gazillion, you know. Okay, so Resident Evil end of, you know, sort of like halfway through 5 and then the whole of 6 really kind of missed the mark. But it was great to see, again, Capcom coming back to form with Resident Evil 7. Completely changing the franchise this time, bringing a new character into the front. Not only that, but they put it into first-person perspective, which of course, the other Resident Evil games have been third-person perspective. So it was interesting to see it in a first-person perspective, and it worked. And I think it worked very well indeed. It, again, made the horror more intimate, and was essentially a remaking of Resident Evil 1, the first Resident Evil game, just in a completely different locale, while at the same time bringing in features of Las Plagas. Okay, this video I really wanted to just talk about Resident Evil. So you may have heard Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil Remake, the HD remake, and Resident Evil 0 are all coming for the Switch. I love my Switch as well as I love the Resident Evil series. I think the Switch is an epic handheld. I don't like mobile gaming. I don't like handheld gaming. I love the Switch because it blends the ability not only to put this, of course, on TVs and stuff, but it also has pretty damn good game. You know, I mean, Zelda is just, I haven't played Odyssey, but Zelda in itself is amazing. Octopath Traveler, you can have an old school game on a console like this at the same time. Okay, so the actual console itself is fantastic. So when it is announced that Resident Evil 4, 1, and 0 are going to come out for the Switch, I'm ecstatic. Why? Well, I've bought Resident Evil 4 on basically every console imaginable multiple times. I'm not ashamed of that one bit. I don't regret these decisions. But it's Resident Evil 0. I never finished or played Resident Evil 0. I bought it once, and for some reason, I never actually managed to finish it. So I was really excited to pick up Resident Evil 0 on the Switch. However, Resident Evil 4, 1, and let's go full screen here, folks, if you don't mind. Hi. This is £29.99. 30 quid. And that's not just for Resident Evil 0. That's for Resident Evil 4. That's for Resident Evil Remake. All of them. £29.99. 30 freaking pounds. Now, you can pick these up on the PlayStation 4 for like 15, 16 quid. Half the price. You can pick up a bundle of these 3 games, I think, on the Xbox One for 40 quid for all 3. You add those up, it's 90 quid. So £50 difference. Why is the price so high for going on to the Switch? These are ancient games now. Ancient games that should still be up for $14, $15, $99, whatever. And just let us purchase them for the same prices. Because there will be quite a few of us. I'm pretty sure you don't want me full screen for the rest of this. So some of us, you know, who, although we have them on multiple consoles, yeah, I'll take a Resident Evil to go mobile. You know, when I'm out and about, when I'm traveling down to see family, when I'm traveling to see friends. You know, when I'm going down to that convention. Yeah, right. And so it's just absolute lunacy. Lunacy. And that's a shame. That's a shame because Capcom have rebuilt some great reputation back up with the community, and they seem to be going in the right direction. And I'm not going to go too hard here because it can all be rectified with a change in price. It can all be rectified with that. But it just seems so stupid that it's twice as much to purchase these games on the Switch than it is to purchase the games on the console. And the reason why the opening was so long, was like an 8-minute waffling about Resident Evil, is because I just wanted to literally explain how easy this franchise is to fall in love with. And I just wanted to explain how beloved this franchise is and how you can just easily talk about it. Left, right, centre, going to the characters, going to the area. Because it is such a beloved... This is your perfect opportunity to open it up to another audience. Maybe the millennial audience. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. I mean that legitimately. The millennial audience who maybe didn't experience these or haven't had the opportunity to experience these or now think they're too antiquated to experience in current day, that you could have just plopped them up on the Switch, a console which is selling excellently and may become the best-selling console of 2019. Maybe. But at twice the price of an Xbox or PlayStation, what's the point? I can't purchase this for 30 quid. 15 quid, yeah, no problem. I'll buy Resident Evil 0. Chances are I'll probably buy them all if they're 15 quid. 45 quid for all 3. Sure. Sold. Sold to Nintendo and Capcom. But come on, 90 quid for all 3. It's daylight robbery. Absolute daylight robbery. So come on, Capcom, please do the right thing. Nintendo, do the right thing. You're a couple of loved companies right now. Just amend the prices. So there you go, folks. Yes, this video was just a veiled, thin way of trying to hide that I wanted to really talk about a franchise that I loved, which was the Resident Evil series, and I have zero regrets. Also, yes, I haven't forgot about Ashley from Resident Evil 4. You could put a scope up her skirt. So I hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links there in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.